They say the old boarding school is abandoned, but it isn't empty. Every night the halls echo with screams that never end. Students who died, trapped forever, repeating their last moments. And tonight, you're about to witness it. Step inside if you dare. But remember, once you enter, there's no turning back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Silent Scream, the place where the darkest mysteries and untold horrors come to life. For those joining us for the first time, you're about to step into stories that will chill you to the bone, stories you won't forget. Make sure you stay until the end, because tonight we're diving into a place where no one walks free. A boarding school haunted by the echoes of children who never survived. Are you ready? Then let's step inside. The old boarding school loomed against the fog-choked hills, like a skull grinning over the valley. Its windows were dark eyes, empty, yet watching. No students walked the hallways anymore. No laughter echoed in its classrooms. Yet, sometimes, if the wind shifted just right, you could hear the faint scraping of chairs, the creak of doors, and the soft, terrified whispers of children long gone. Every evening, the caretaker's lantern flickered in the abandoned corridors, illuminating chalk-stained blackboards and desks frozen mid-chaos. On the walls, shadows twisted like they were alive, bending into shapes of hands that never touched the world, yet yearned to. The stories said the school had closed decades ago, after the fire, the flood, the accident. But those were only half the truth. The building itself seemed alive, preserving the echoes of its students' final moments. And when the moonlight seeped through the broken windows, the ghosts would begin their endless rehearsal. A scream frozen in time, a stumble down the stairs, a gasp, a thud. No one dared enter. No one survived if they did. And yet tonight, a stranger's car rolled up the gravel drive, headlights cutting through the mist, carrying curiosity too stubborn to heed the warnings. Detective Aaron Vale had heard the rumors before, but nothing in his career had prepared him for the sight of the school at night. The gates hung open, rusted hinges groaning as if warning him to turn back. He parked on the cracked asphalt, the engine's hum swallowed by the thick fog. The building before him looked like a blackened monument to sorrow, ivy crawling like veins over its stone face. Every step toward the entrance echoed in the hollow shell of the school, but it was a hollow that carried whispers, soft, urgent, pleading. Aaron shook his head, trying to dismiss the creeping unease. The police reports were clear. Students disappeared, staff gone. Only the caretaker remained. But even he had vanished months ago. The place should have been empty. Inside, the air was thick, almost wet, as if the walls themselves were breathing. The corridors stretched endlessly, peeling paint revealing decades of neglect. Doors hung ajar, revealing classrooms frozen in time. In one room, a desk sat tipped over, its chair cracked and blackened. A small shoe lay beside it. In another, a blackboard bore the frantic scribblings of lessons interrupted, equations half solved, letters smeared with something that might once have been chalk. Or maybe something else. Aaron's flashlight beam fell upon his shadow. It didn't move like a normal shadow. It lingered, sharp and defined, like smoke frozen mid-twist. And then he heard it, a sharp intake of breath, followed by the unmistakable thump of footsteps. He spun, shining the light, but saw only empty hallways. The whispering returned, clearer now, threading through the silence. "Help me!" Aaron froze. The voice was childlike, terrified, almost tangible. He moved toward it, each step heavier than the last. The temperature dropped, and his breath came out in white clouds. Doors slammed shut somewhere behind him, though the halls were empty. In the main hall, the grand staircase was a monument to tragedy. Scorch marks from a fire long ago scorched the wood, yet polished floors reflected the moonlight eerily. A shadow flitted across the landing. Aaron could swear he saw a girl in a uniform stumble and fall, her body hitting the steps with a hollow echo. He ran forward, heart hammering, but when he reached the spot, the stairs were empty. Then the chanting began. Not words, just rhythmic sounds, footsteps, gasps, crying. And suddenly, every hallway he turned down became a corridor of horrors. Faces appeared in the peeling wallpaper, mouths open in silent screams. He saw boys dragged under doors that didn't exist, girls pressed against walls that had no cracks. The more he tried to escape, the more he descended into the school's labyrinth. In a science lab, Aaron found remnants of a biology experiment. Jars lined the shelves, each containing something grotesque, something that had once been alive. As he moved past, a hand burst from one jar, clawing at the glass, leaving streaks of condensation where no fingers should have been. He yelped, stumbling backward, and the door slammed shut behind him. The room became pitch black, save for his flashlight beam, trembling in his grip. "Who's there?" he shouted, voice cracking. No answer, only whispers, closer now, circling him, echoing in impossible directions. The walls seemed to pulse, alive, reacting to his fear. The shadows stretched, coiling like snakes, then darting away just out of reach. Something cold brushed his neck, and he spun to face nothing, though a faint outline of a boy's face was pressed against the wall, mouth open, eyes wide, silent scream, eternal.
Hours, or was it minutes? Aaron had lost all sense of time. Each corridor seemed to fold into the next, and then he saw them together. A room full of children, all frozen mid-motion, reliving their last moments. Some fell downstairs, others screamed at invisible flames. One banged her head against a wall that didn't exist anymore. And they saw him. Their eyes were hollow, hungry, desperate. Aaron's rational mind screamed that it was impossible, hallucinations born of exhaustion. Yet he felt their presence, the tangible weight of their suffering pressing against him. A small voice whispered urgently, "Find her." He followed it instinctively, through a door that appeared only when he looked away from it, into a library where books hovered midair, pages turning as if caught in an unseen wind. A girl sat at a desk, her head bent, writing furiously. Aaron stepped closer. She looked up, her eyes wide, unblinking. Her mouth moved soundlessly. Then, The fire from the old records room flared up in his memory. The accident. He pieced it together. Each child's death was violent, unexpected, trapped in the building by fire, flood, accident, cruelty. And the school itself had become a prison for the echoes of their final terror. The air grew thick with whispers, every shadow taking form. Aaron stumbled backwards, and suddenly the girl vanished. Footsteps thundered around him, doors slammed, the building shaking with unseen force. He ran, twisted corridors swallowing him whole. He glimpsed the caretaker, a god-man with hollow eyes, reaching for him with hands like claws. "Stay forever," the man hissed. He realized the truth. This was no ordinary haunting. The school fed on memory, on fear, on life itself. The ghosts didn't want to leave. They needed him. And as the whispers turned into screams, he understood he was running not toward the exit, but into the very heart of the nightmare. He found the main hole again, stairs rising before him like a spine, faces pressed to the walls, hands clawing at the wood. He ran up, every step echoing the deaths he had just witnessed. At the top landing, he saw her, just one girl, standing at the edge looking down the hall. And the moment he reached her, she screamed, and all the children turned toward him, an ocean of silent anguish. The walls began to close in. The air pressed against his chest. He raised his hand, trying to reach for anything solid, but the school shifted, corridors stretching, twisting, swallowing the light. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was a blackboard. A single word scrawled in chalk. Repeat.
When the search team arrived the next morning, the school was silent. No doors creaked, no footsteps echoed. The mist rolled over the grounds, hiding the windows behind a veil of gray. Detective Vale was never found. His car remained at the entrance, engine still warm. Inside, the classrooms waited, desks in disarray, chalkboards smudged with lessons half finished. And if one listened carefully, faint whispers filled the halls, rising and falling like a mournful wind. The children moved through the corridors as always, replaying their deaths endlessly, tirelessly. Tonight, someone new might come. Someone curious, someone brave or foolish. And when they did, the school would greet them as it always did. Not with a door, not with a warning, but with the unbearable weight of inevitability. The boarding school had no students, only ghosts. And now, it had one more to teach the lesson of death repeated, over and over, forever.
And so the school waits, silent, still, but far from empty. The children are there, trapped in their endless loop. And Detective Vale, he's another ghost in their halls now. Whoever enters next will hear their whispers, feel their presence, and maybe join them. Some stories end, yes, but some continue forever, echoing in the darkness, waiting for the next curious soul.
If this story gave you chills, don't leave the lights off just yet.
Hit that like button if you want more terrifying tales. Share this video with someone brave enough to watch. And remember, the ghosts are always listening. Until next time, keep your doors locked and your curiosity alive.